Hello, YouTube. Holotrichia parallela, or scarabs, commonly known as the dark black chafer. Holotrichia parallela is one of the most important pests in agriculture and forestry in China, for example. This Holotrichia parallela has a three-stage life cycle: the egg, larva, and adult. The larvae of Holotrichia parallela live in the soil and prefer to feed on plant roots during their 2-year larva stage. And adult Holotrichia parallela insects feed on fresh leaves. But there is more to this beetle than meets the eye. A day on our planet, as you know, lasts 24 hours, according to its rotation around the axis. Local living creatures also live in an appropriate rhythm. Most of the processes in their organisms are synchronized with the change of day and night. A black scarab beetle, Holotrichia parallela, obeys a different rhythm. These beetles live as if there were 48 hours in a day. A new study published in the journal Current Biology unveils the unusual biological rhythm of the large black chafer beetle. Holotrichia parallela, an agricultural pest in Asia. Contrary to the typical 24-hour cycle that governs most life on Earth, these beetles operate on a rare 48-hour cycle, termed circadian. The research led by Walter Lyell, professor of molecular and cellular biology at the University of California, Davis, and Zhao Yin at the Chinese Academy of Agricultural Sciences in Beijing, examines the beetle's mating behavior, which occurs every other night. It's a very intriguing mating behavior. Female beetles of this species emerge from the soil binightly, climbing host plants to release pheromones and attract males. The research team, intrigued by this behavior, investigated whether the male beetle's ability to detect these pheromones was also controlled by a 48-hour clock. The studies focus on the beetle's chemical sensing, particularly how insects use scent to attract mates, led to identifying the gene responsible for reacting to the female pheromone. This research confirms that the male chafer beetle's ability to detect female pheromones operates on a 48-hour circadian cycle, aligning with the female's mating behavior. However, the study raises questions about the reasons behind this beetle's unique 48-hour cycle. Since there are no environmental clues regarding the 48-hour scale, it remains a mystery how these circadian cycles are set and synchronized. 24-hour rhythms in physiology and behavior are commonly observed in organisms from bacteria to humans, but observations of 48-hour rhythms in nature are rare, according to Professor Joanna Chiu, who is the chair of the Department of Entomology and Nematology at the UC Davis, and an expert on the circadian rhythms, who was not involved in this research. Every 48 hours, sex hormones are activated in the body of beetles. Creatures are attracted to sexual exploits. Female beetles live in the same rhythm with male beetles. Then both of them quiet down for 2 days, so that 2 more days later then can take up their own business again. The researchers explained the confusion. Biological cycles usually correspond to external environmental signals, and there are no cycles lasting 48 hours in nature. At least they are not known in terrestrial nature. One can, of course, assume that the beetles were somehow brought to Earth from another planet, on which the day lasts 48 hours. They got used to it, and they bred in favorable conditions, and they still adhere to the rhythm of their home planet. This hypothesis is a little unusual, but there are no other hypotheses yet. By the way, Did you know that a map of the Milky Way is embedded in the brains of scarabs? Dung beetles, they're also scarabs. All the species belong to the superfamily Scarabaeidae. Rolling dung balls from place to place, they orient themselves by the stars. They use a visible arm of our spiral galaxy, the Milky Way, for navigation. What is not another argument in favor of the alien origin of beetles? The same thing, however, seemed humorous to the scientific community. Scientists from Sweden, Australia, Germany, and South Africa who discovered the connection of dung beetles with the stars received the Ig Nobel Prize in Biology and Astronomy in 2013. Yes, I understand that on occasions this scientific community has such a keen sense of humor. We could go through a number of blunders this esteemed community has made, but why waste time? Let's look closely at the connection I told you about. Experiments led by zoology professor Eric Warren from Lund University in Sweden tested scarabs in a specially built area. In it, the beetles were looking for the shortest path from the center to the edge, to where they could hide the cherished dung ball. Beetles, from whom the Milky Way was blocked, looped around the arena, and those who could see the stars, quickly rolled dung balls to the edge of the arena. When launching beetles on trips, so to say, scientists blocked the sun and moon from them with the help of special caps. Gradually, it became clear that the beetles only have enough stars to orient themselves. Experiments repeated at the Johannesburg Planetarium in South Africa confirmed this. There, in this planetarium, it was possible to determine exactly which objects of the starry sky are necessary for beetles to lay the shortest itinerary. Scientists cleaned some, so to say, and then others. Fortunately, modern projection technology allowed this, and it turned out that the scarabs only need the arm of the Milky Way. Without it, the beetles lost their orientation. These insects do not use terrestrial objects for navigation at all, according to Dr. Marie Decke, a participant in the research, and she was surprised. They navigate by the stars. Well, it is unknown whether the ancient Egyptians knew about the amazing commitment of scarabs to the stars and the Milky Way, but for some reason, they revered them. They worshiped them beyond measure. I think they called the scarabs as the sacred insects of the sun deities. I'm not going to get here into discussion of scarabs and ancient Egypt. There's quite a lot of materials out there. But what if all the scarabs are aliens, whether products of an alien planet? Maybe they were brought to Earth by aliens, some alien deities from among those who knew why it was necessary to build pyramids. They were brought from a planet from which the arm of our spiral galaxy is also clearly visible. It's not too far away. At this point, we can only guess and think about ideas as to why. Let's see what more research will bring. If you like my research, please support me, please, through the links you will find in description to this video. Please tell others. And thank you for your attention to my work.